Peaceful protest in Grand Rapids devolves into riot, looting and fires. Grand Rapids, Michigan. What began as a peaceful Grand Rapids protest over national issues of police brutality ended in fires, looting, smashed windows and extensive damage in downtown Grand Rapids. Several parked police cruisers were set on fire at one point, causing large booms as gas erupted. The initial protest, like many others across the nation, recognized the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis after a police officer pressed his knee against Floyd's neck. Demonstrators began a march about 6 p.m. Saturday, May 30th. But by 8 p.m., hundreds of people had gathered on two sides of the Grand Rapids Police Station on Monroe Center NW and began shouting chants such as "No justice, no peace," and "Hands up, don't shoot." Several protesters stood toe-to-toe with police, now donned in riot gear, and shouted at officers. At some point, some people began smashing windows. It seemed to embolden others to join in. A crowd gathered around the Michigan Secretary of State building at Division Avenue and Fulton Street, and several people began to smash windows. Someone then tried to set a banner on fire draped over a smashed window. Soon after, the crowd moved to Ionia Avenue and smashed windows out of 82 Ionia Avenue, the location of the Kent County Prosecutor's Office. A large dumpster was then set on fire nearby. Grand Rapids firefighters arrived to put out the container fire. But as a firefighter jumped out of a truck, someone threw a large firecracker or other explosive toward him and knocked him to the ground. He clutched at his ears. The firefighter got up slowly and was helped back into the fire truck. Firefighters then left the scene and allowed the dumpster to burn. It wasn't clear if the firefighter was significantly injured. As the damage to buildings began to grow and the crowd refused to disperse as commanded, police began to fire tear gas, flashbang devices and smoke canisters. Grand Rapids police began to move slowly through the streets to try to stop the damage, but the crowd moved to other areas. Many downtown Grand Rapids buildings were damaged, including the downtown courthouse and the Grand Rapids Art Museum. Along Monroe Center, nearly every business between Monroe Avenue and Ionia Avenue had broken windows. Several had furniture and displays tipped over inside. Many windows of businesses along Ottawa Avenue, from Fulton to Lyon streets, also were broken. Some in the crowd ripped street signs from their bases and used them to smash windows. Several buildings were looted, including Kilwins at Monroe Center Avenue NW and Monroe Avenue. People could be seen leaving the shop with handfuls of chocolate and candy. Shortly after 11 p.m., a parked Wyoming police cruiser was set ablaze on Pearl Street NW near Ottawa Avenue. The fire caught an adjacent cruiser on fire and rioters soon moved in to set fire and smash at least two other parked cruisers. Even at 3 a.m., groups of people were roaming downtown streets and police continued to receive reports of damage. Grand Rapids Police at 3:30 a.m. issued a statement about the rioting. "Our department is saddened by the events that have transpired downtown over the past 9 hours. What started as a peaceful rally was distorted into senseless acts of vandalism and violence. We know these pointless crimes do not represent who we are as a city. We will work around the clock to hold everyone who was involved in criminal activity accountable for their actions. Everyone in our community deserves to live in safety and peace," police said. "Our personnel will work to serve the community in the coming days while city leadership addresses strategies and plans for maintaining calm and security," police said. Police administrators said they expected city leaders to give an update on the riot and damage on Sunday. Observers who came downtown to see what was happening said they were disheartened and saddened by the vandalism and rioting. Jeremy Abdallah said he has no problems with peaceful protests but cannot understand causing damage. "We're going to pay for it in the long run. Taxpayer dollars are going to pay for it. It's for the birds," he said. Abdallah said he didn't know why people turned to rioting, but suspects' immaturity played a role. "Probably half the people out here are under 21, he said. Megan Wilkes, who was standing next to Abdallah, said the behavior was uncharacteristic for Grand Rapids and its people. "We're not saying the cops are perfect. By far, they're not. But this is not Grand Rapids in any way, shape or form," she said.